Welcome to episode 33 of ECTEL Bites. The show is a production of the Eastern Caribbean Telecommunications Authority, and I'm your host, Coretta Crooks-Charles, ECTEL's Communications and Media Relations Manager. We created this space to provide you with information about developments taking place in the electronic communications sector by the Directorate and like-minded organizations. Our special guests are two vibrant and brilliant young people from the Caribbean ICT Youth Network, or the CIYN. They are Gabrielle Johnson, ICT Relations Professional, and Tariq Mohammed. He's a telecommunications consultant with the ITU and the CTU. Welcome to ECTEL Bites, Gabrielle and Tariq.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us, Coretta.
You're most welcome. So today we're going to be turning the spotlight on the Caribbean ICT Youth Network. Some time ago, we had Tariq on the program speaking about the Smart Seas project, but today he wears many hats. So he's here in another capacity and he's joined by Gabrielle. So for viewers hearing about the Caribbean ICT Youth Network for the very first time, what is the CYN all about and how did it get started?
So thank you, Coretta. The CIYN is actually a strategic initiative of the Caribbean Telecommunications Union, which is the CARICOM specialized institution for all things information and communications technologies. It actually began in 2022, not anywhere in the Caribbean, but all the way in Kigali, Rwanda. Gabrielle and I, along with some other youth from the Caribbean, were attending the ITU International Telecommunication Union's first ever Generation Connect Global Youth Summit, which was taking place preceding the 2022 World Telecommunication Development Conference. And so as soon as we came out of that summit, the CTU Secretary General and his deputy were now arriving in Kigali, and they said, let's meet, let's hear about how this summit went. And as we sat there discussing, they had the idea for us to, as youth, really take some initiative in the Caribbean and develop the first ever Caribbean Youth Internet Governance Forum. And in just less than 2 months, we were able to plan and host that first ever CYIGF Caribbean Youth Internet Governance Forum, which has since been a steady and ongoing initiative. So that's really how it all started, and what it's all about is building this next generation of ICT professionals. So whether you have a technical background in engineering, such as myself, whether you have a background in international relations, such as Gabrielle, or law, as some of our other students, some of our other members, or you're a student that's still developing your skills, the Caribbean ICT Youth Network is really the place for you to develop yourself in the sphere of ICTs to become the leaders of tomorrow.
Okay, great pitch, Tariq. Okay, so let's go into the demographics of the group. How many members do you have currently? And give us an idea of the demographics. You just painted a picture of some of the backgrounds. You have lawyers, engineers, persons in ICT or international relation, but give us a clearer picture as to the age range, the gender, and the countries that make up the group.
Right, thanks for that. So right now, the CIYN is open to representatives from all CTU member states. So I'll just put that straight out there. And we have over 100 registered members and a wider community of around 250 young people really actively engaging across our platforms. So basically, right now we are trying to expand our reach. So basically to bring in even more voices, especially from smaller islands and underrepresented communities. So the network could truly mirror the full diversity and talent of our Caribbean youth. So basically right now our members range from their late teens, so 16 to 35. So they are mostly students, early career professionals, as Tariq said, entrepreneurs in fields like ICT, AI, cybersecurity, you name it. So I think right now we are quite diverse, and the gender balance is pretty strong. And in terms of how many females we have as opposed to males, and I think that speaks to the growing presence and leadership of women in the Caribbean space, in the digital space specifically, and the fact that technology and policy are no longer just seen as male-dominated fields, but as, an inclusive area where young women are, shaping innovation, governance, and that level of change. So I think that the diversity and of perspectives of the various backgrounds and disciplines, it really strengthens the network and it keeps our conversations, very dynamic and inclusive. So yes.
Okay, awesome. I like that you said you're trying to grow so you could have more persons from the smaller islands. So therein lies an opportunity for you to work closely with ICTEL and the NTRCs because we are in 5 of the Eastern Caribbean countries. So we could work on that together.
Yeah.
Okay, so we often hear about the digital future, but why is it so important for young people to have a seat at the table when it comes to shaping digital policy and innovation in the region?
So I think, well, because the digital transformation is fundamentally about the future, and we the youth are the future. So I think decisions being made today on issues like AI, data governance, connectivity, cybersecurity, you name it, will directly shape the lives and livelihoods of us young people for decades to come. So when youth are part of the policy conversations, I think they bring that level of creativity, that tech fluency, and really a sense of urgency, which is extremely important. So we help ensure that these policies reflect the realities of those growing up in the digital age, from access, affordability, digital skills, entrepreneurship. So it's really about designing systems with youth, not for youth. So that's,
I like that. Yes, thank you for that, Gabrielle. Okay, so the word policy, it can sound a bit intimidating. How does the CIYN make those big policy conversations fun and relatable for young people?
Okay, so we try to translate complex policy issues into more so real world stories so that it could be more so relatable. So for example, instead of talking about data protection frameworks, we discuss what happens when, your favorite app misuses your personal data. We use somewhat interactive formats, like maybe hackathons, youth fora, and various capacity building initiatives to really connect policy and creativity. So, and, we plan on partnering with organizations to run, various workshops and, as I said, various capacity building initiatives where youth could really learn hands-on skills such as like building AI models or developing digital solutions, while really understanding the ethical and policy dimensions behind them.
All right. Okay, so can you tell us about some of the ways CIYN is helping young people step up as digital leaders or change makers in their communities?
So as Gabrielle mentioned a bit on some of the initiatives and how we're targeting young people before, what we've really done was take this multifaceted approach of inclusion, capacity building, and networking. We've done a lot of collaboration with private sector organizations as well as civil society organizations and academia now. And there are always opportunities that we are striving for to ensure that young people are included and we make their voices heard. As Gabrielle mentioned earlier, with youth for youth, I really like that. And so some of these fora include the Caribbean ICT Youth Network's annual meetings as part of the CTU's ICT Week. And what we've done is each of those annual meetings that we've been having since 2023, we've included capacity building components, bringing industry relevant and large names of players to the youth to ensure that they develop industry relevant skills and develop their capacities. Something that we recently did as well was a mini hackathon. So in Jamaica, just about a month ago, actually, we had some capacity building on AI, and then right after we did like a mini hackathon using some of the skills and resources that were available through the headline sponsor for ICT Week, which was IntelliBus. And so we've also done some other capacity building initiatives, and we do have some exciting hackathons coming up as well. So maybe I could share that like at the end, to simulate some sort of interest. But what we're really striving for is to ensure that youth are active partners in driving the digital agendas, being digital natives ourselves.
Okay, thanks for that, Tariq. So one of the resolutions adopted at the recent CTU ICT Week that was held in Jamaica was to support the Caribbean ICT Youth Network to promote youth participation in digital policy, innovation, and leadership development across member states. What are your expectations coming out of this resolution, and how would you like to see governments demonstrate that support in a very practical way?
Excellent question. So the youth network, so we started youth engagements in 2022. The youth network was informally formed in 2023. But what we lacked was this sort of regional framework for partnerships and collaboration. And that's really where this resolution came to play. We took the resolution to the Executive Council at the CTU, which is the technical officers. And once that was approved, it then went to the CTU's General Conference of Ministers, who were in great support of seeing young people present and actively involved in the sphere of ICTs. So that's great. One of the key things that we'd like to see from governments, so Gabrielle mentioned that we had some good outreach. We have over 100 members, over 250 persons actively engaged. But what we're seeing is that within CTU's 20 current member states, we don't have that full representation and outreach to all of the countries. So, CTU's headquarters is based in Trinidad and Tobago, and we've been able to do a lot of in-person activities here over the years. When we go to different countries for the Caribbean and Caribbean Youth Internet Governance Fora, as well as the annual ICT Week meetings, we've been able to generate some steady stream of youth in these different countries. But what we're really hoping for is to have focal points designated from the governments that we could engage with directly to share opportunities and other information on the network to youth. So that way, it might be easier for somebody in the country to be that focal point and manage the outreach for us. And also, if they have any other interesting initiatives and other partnering organizations to work with us. And so what we also want to see from governments, hopefully, is this demonstrated support for youth as part of representations and perhaps even inclusion in their delegations to international conferences and other regional fora and national fora as well related to ICTs. So these are the main wins that we're hoping to get from the government side of things, really to have their support and active engagement in youth participation and inclusion.
Okay, thanks for that, Tariq. And when you said I remember the Caribbean, the CTU Network of Women, they have a similar setup where they have focal points. So I'm sure you could liaise with Francola from the CTU on that to sort of mirror what they're doing with the Network of Women and setting up focal points in the respective member states.
Definitely. And so
Okay.
we're always working with the Network of Women, actually.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yes. So they have a publication that they do every quarter. In the know. And one thing that we do is we ensure that one youth is always featured in it. So we look for a young woman every quarter to have, actually I was featured there as, as women and men that support them. So I was also in that somehow,
Okay.
but the other issues have all featured young women. Gabrielle was featured. We had a very talented Jamaican youth, Chanel, featured as well. And we're just going to continue working with these different initiatives and organizations and movements to ensure that we take this collaborative effort towards inclusion, whether that be of women, youth, and beyond.
Excellent. Thanks, Tariq. So what are some of the success stories or proud moments that show the real impact CIYN has had so far?
So this year in April, we did a collaboration for a technical capacity building in Python-powered analytics and Power BI. So we've heard a lot on Python and coding being this interesting thing over the past few years. We've also heard everybody talking about Power BI, data analytics, business intelligence. And so we worked with the IEEE, which is the Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, a global nonprofit organization, civil society organization, as well as the Women in Data Science for Trinidad and Tobago, and came together and put together this hybrid capacity building, which took place in April. We had actually over 200 persons registered and present from around the world. So many across the Caribbean, but we also got persons in India and China and, these very far-reaching countries that we didn't even know we had outreach to. And so this was a very proud moment to see so many people there actively engaged, both online and in person, because we had it in a hybrid format. Everybody was excited, they were interested, they wanted more, and it really inspired and motivated us to continue the work that we're doing and also look at doing similar events in the future. We've also had a very steady stream of youth at our events, whether that be, so this year we had the Caribbean Youth Internet Governance Forum in Cuba. It was also the first time we ever had a multi-language event with live translations between English and Spanish. So that was also a win to engage youth in Cuba that, there is this language barrier that was there before, but we're seeing that we're able to now overcome these barriers, have a greater outreach to these different countries, communities, and people, and really increase the outreach and growth of the network. Quite apart from that, you asked of the success stories and our proud moments. We launched earlier this year the Caribbean Byte, BYTE, which is our quarterly newsletter on all things related to sort of youth developments within the network. And so that really captures our success stories and proud moments. It showcases our events. It showcases some of the views, whether that be technical opinions, technical articles, or other opinions of ICT related matters from youth or on youth across the Caribbean. And so that's really a nice catalog as well to see what it is we're doing, what it is we have upcoming, and really paint a very good picture. And so with that, we have another issue of that actually coming out within the next 2 weeks, hopefully. And this really captures a quarterly snapshot of all the things happening related to youth in the Caribbean. Well, not all, because there are lots of initiatives that we still don't know about, but we're trying our best to really use this as an opportunity to showcase and increase our outreach as well.
Okay, thanks for that, Tariq. So I can think of a few, but let me ask you, what kind of help does CIYN need right now to keep growing, and whether from governments, regional regulators, or the private sector?
So right now, as I said earlier, we are focused on expanding our outreach. So utilizing channels like ECTEL Bytes, to really connect with Caribbean countries specifically where we don't yet have youth representation, and to really raise that greater awareness of the network. So growth for us really comes through partnerships and investments. We're looking to collaborate with governments, regional regulators, private sector, to really, really help broaden our reach, whether it be through mentorship programs, sponsorship of youth participation in various regional events, or even access to training resources.
Just to really emphasize on that, the network, I mean, we're all doing this in our voluntary capacity, but to be able to go out there and do networking, to do capacity building, to have those resources available to us, whether that be financial or in-kind support from institutions that can help. So, if we want to do something on regulation, we need the support of regulators to come and introduce regulation to young people, because a lot of young people, they aren't interested in regulation. They see regulation and they say, these are rules. Why are they trying to control us? And they have this bigger interest in probably working for those private sector organizations. But it's important, of course, to understand the underlying regulations and how to work within that framework, and to really, leverage them for you, leverage them for your company, understand, well, what are the parameters that we're within, what regulations can, enable us, and what parameters do we need to consider to also ensure that, if you're working at a telco, that you're protecting your users, that you're in compliance. And so really just having that overarching perspective of policy and regulation is very important. So yeah, we're looking for continued outreach, but we're also looking for financial and in-kind support of the regulators and other institutions that can help us. So, it's government, private sector is really a big one because they would have that industry specific knowledge and expertise and state-of-the-art resources as well that we could always hope to leverage and partner with.
Okay, thanks for adding that, Tariq. So not every young person has access to the same tools or opportunities. How is CIYN helping to level the playing field for youth across the Caribbean?
So access to resources is always a challenge in the Caribbean. And what we see is even, beyond youth, many times one person wears multiple hats just because of our constraints. So the CIYN is really an initiative to pool together resources to strengthen the youth inclusion, whether that be exposure to events, industry relevant capacity building. We have done in the past fellowships actually and sent youth to events. I've benefited from some, Gabrielle has benefited from some, and we've had quite a number of youth. This year alone, I mean, we sent one youth all the way to Taiwan to learn some AI skills on document and video processing. And this was made possible through the support of the Taiwanese government. So they really funded, they came and they said, we have this opportunity. Let's get somebody to go. We had some capacity building as well with USTTI. We put out some applications there. Young person said, well, this is my background. This will help me to develop my skills. This will help me to better my network, help me at work. And so we've said, okay, we have some resources available here. We're going to give you this opportunity. And so we've really been having a lot of interest from youth, especially as of late, to develop their networks and their skills. And so it's really a collaborative effort, not just between the CTU and other intergovernmental organizations, but with academia and private sector organizations and civil society. And really the list goes on and on and on in terms of how many people we get outreach and get their support.
Okay, thanks, Tariq. So what's next for CIYN? Any exciting projects or plans coming up that you could share with us? I remember you mentioned something about hackathons. Tell us more about that and anything else.
Okay, so that's an exciting question actually. So there are really two big things that we have coming up. I mean, the year is almost at its end, but we're not done just yet. In just a few weeks, we're actually having a fellowship. So I mentioned earlier that this network started off coming out of the ITU's Global Youth Summit, which was preceding the WTDC World Telecommunications Development Conference. And so we've actually made it full circle for this conversation here now in having a fellowship for youth to attend the first week, or it's the second week, 1 week of the 2 weeks of the WTDC, as well as this year's Global Youth Celebration, which is immediately preceding it. So we've put out a call and they're actually selecting a fellow as we speak right now. One person, we've had, such interesting profiles of persons that have applied. And so that's like a really exciting one because you're going to get to go all the way to Baku, Azerbaijan. I don't know how many people in the Caribbean have just, I can flex that and say, I've gone there. But quite apart from being able to travel and visit that side of the world, you'll be accompanying the CTU's Secretary General and Deputy Secretary General and really getting a lot of hands-on exposure and experience in the stakeholder collaboration and providing that technical and administrative support to CTU's member states that are on the ground. And also, building and getting that exposure to the global network of ICT related developmental discussions. So that's a really big one that we have right now. And, excited to just, yap about that for however long you give me. But quite apart from that, we've also been working with the University of the West Indies. They are doing a launch of their AI Innovation Center in December of this year. And we actually came out of discussions just yesterday when having this youth-focused hackathon and code sprint, where we are looking at partner organizations, are looking to partner with organizations around the Caribbean and around the world, actually, to say, well, this is a Caribbean-focused problem. This is a Caribbean data set that we have, and leading up to the launch of this AI Innovation Center. We want youth to see this problem and take a few weeks, come up with a solution, and keep building and presenting on it. So we're doing a little contest, and it's a very short timeline, but we're still hoping to put this together. I'm actually quite excited for it, and we have like a number of interested and interesting stakeholders that are going to be working with us to pull this off. So I would say for any youth that are listening, keep that in mind. And so those are just in the next few months. I mean, we're at the end of October. There's just basically 2 months left. And we have these really 2 big opportunities coming up in just weeks away. 2026 is shaping up to be a very, very busy and active year for us. We're looking at having a number of capacity building events. We're looking at getting more youth involved and more funding and fellowships to regional and international conferences, and building that exposure, building the networks, building the skills, and building the inclusion of youth.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks, Tariq. I did see the initiative you mentioned coming up, the WTDC. We shared it on our social media. So if you do have anything else, feel free to tag ECTEL so we could share and help you to get the word out there.
Lovely. Thank you.
You're most welcome. So before we wrap up, how can people who are watching, whether young innovators or potential supporters, get involved and be a part of what the CIYN is doing?
So if you're a young person passionate about technology like Tariq and I are, policy, innovation, I mean, you don't have to have a background in technology. So keep that in mind. You need to join us, right? So you can reach us. We can reach out through the CTU website and its social media pages, but we also have a QR code with a link to register to be a part of the CIYN. I would share that with you, Caretta, so that, that could be posted up on your social media pages and whatnot. So yeah, just click the link and register, and you will be a part of our network, and we will also include you in our WhatsApp groups, so you can basically get the inside scoop of everything that we are doing, right? And also for organizations or potential partners, we welcome collaboration on projects, capacity building, sponsorships, you name it. And, the more stakeholders get involved, the stronger and more sustainable the network. So, yes.
Okay.
And Gabby mentioned joining the network. Joining the network is actually completely free, by the way. It's
free,
just a formalized process. So we have a few groups on WhatsApp. We have a group for just anybody that's interested in finding out about the network. It's a general group. Then we also have a group for the members. And the members are rewarded for being members by getting access to, specific opportunities. So there's really this reward that's there. One example being that WTDC fellowship. We could have put it out to anyone and, would have received hundreds of applications, which would have been quite a pain to manage, honestly. But what we did was, we said, this opportunity should be available to our registered members, those that have been actively engaged, because what we want is we want to reward youth and keep them engaged. So yes, you're now coming in. We're glad to have you and we'd love to have you involved. But to our dedicated and committed members who've been with us for years, we're really asking that you formalize, your process of joining, which really isn't long. It's just a short form that tells us, what your interests are, who you are, what country you're from, what are your interests. And that helps us as well to then say, well, okay, if we have 50 people that have registered in the past week that are interested in cybersecurity, that means we need to do something specific within that area of ICTs. If there is somebody that's interested, or if there's a large influx of people that said that they're interested in spectrum management, that means, okay, we need to go and talk to the CTU Spectrum Management Task Force. We need to talk to the regulators. We need to put together some sort of workshop and capacity building. So that really helps us as well manage the network and see, well, what are the different interests and how can we continue to serve our membership? So that's really what it's all about, this collaboration and support.
Okay, thanks. Does the CIYN have a specific email address by any chance for persons, or do they go to the CTU's website if somebody would like to sponsor the work that you're doing? How would they reach out to you directly?
So we do have, oh yes, Gabby, go ahead.
Give me 1 second. I'm just trying to get our email address.
Okay.
So that I can share
So while Gabrielle looks for that, Tariq, do you have any final words as we get ready to wrap up?
Oh, yes, I have a lot, but I'll keep them short for all the listeners that have taken the time to make it all the way to this section of the program. I really just want to thank you on behalf of the CTU and the Caribbean ICT Youth Network, and really ask that you share this information with any youth in your network. Gabrielle mentioned that you don't need to have any specific background, that we look at persons under the age of 35, which, you know, is quite a big age range for persons in the Caribbean, whether you're a student, a young professional, or, you know, somebody that's, you know, building that steady career within the sector. And you don't even need to be in the sector, because ICTs are everywhere. It's a really cross-cutting industry that serves all other industries, especially in this developing digital age. To regulators, private sector, civil society organizations, and governments that are listening, we really encourage you to reach out and partner with us. And I hope, Gabby, did you send the email?
So the email, I would say it's ciyn@ctu.int. ciyn@ctu.int. So that's our
Okay,
email.
And we also have a page on the CTU's website that shows everything that we're doing. I think it's ctu.int/CIYN, which, you know, it's just basically the same format, just, you know, rearranged. And
Yeah.
that's also where you could find our publications on the Caribbean Bite, as I mentioned, that will be released in a few weeks. We have an issue up there right now. It was very fun to put together. Gabby and I put it together. First time being an editor on a magazine, which was itself a very interesting, rewarding, and challenging task. I don't at all envy, you know, jobs in corporate communications, because that was a pain to do. But it was also very nice to be able to put it together. And as I wrap up my final words for the youth that are listening, really just stay hungry, stay interested, and stay connected. You know how to reach out to us, and please do. So, Gabby, maybe you could give some final
Yeah.
thoughts now.
Yes, Carter, I thank you so much for having us. And I'd just like to say, the Caribbean's digital transformation has to be inclusive, right? And that means youth must be at the heart of it. We have the ideas, we have the passion, we have the skills. What we need is the continued trust, mentorship, and the opportunity, right? So I think that CIYN is proof that when youth are empowered, the region moves forward together as one, right? So, the digital future isn't something that we wait for. We've been waiting for too long. It's something that we need to build, because we will be left behind. So I thank you, Greta.
And one last word.
Go ahead,
Youth.
Tariq.
Youth is spelled YOUTH. There's no youth without you. So
Yes,
please join us.
yes, I love that too.
Thank you so much, Gabrielle and Tariq. Thanks for being our guests on episode 33 of ECTEL Bites, and I hope that more young people from across the Caribbean, especially the Eastern Caribbean, based on what you said, you don't have sufficient persons from those countries with an interest in ICT, will join the group and just contribute more meaningfully to the future of the ICT in the region. And as Gabby just said, you're not looking forward to this thing happening a few years from now. You're working to build it. I quite like that. So in case you joined us late, our very special guests were Gabrielle Johnson, ICT Relations Professional, and Tariq Mohammed. He's a telecommunications consultant with the ITU and the CTU. They provided quite a bit of information about the CIYN and the work being done to engender a deeper understanding about ICT and the pivotal role young people should play in shaping the sector. If you have any questions, be sure to leave them in the comment section below, and we will reply. And Gabrielle made reference to a QR code for persons who would like to sign up. We're going to put that QR code in the comment section as well, so you have easy access to signing up and be a part of the group. Apart from being on our Facebook page, the recording of ECTEL Bites will also be on our YouTube channel, which is at ECTEL, and on Instagram, LinkedIn, and X at ECTEL Authority, and of course on our website at www.ectel.int. So be sure to share with your contacts who may not be on Facebook. So that's it for episode 33 of ECTEL Bites. Thanks so much for joining us, and we hope to see you again very soon virtually. I'm your host, Caretta Crooks-Charles, ECTEL's Communications and Media Relations Manager. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, do take care and keep safe.